Hey everybody, this is Patrick from Dual Dimensions, and I came to show you the monster cards that you would get inside of a Spellcaster's deck from the 5D's Yu-Gi-Oh series. So let's get started. The first card that I picked, Defender the Magical Knight. He has 1600 attack points, 2000 defense points, 4 stars. This card is good because every time someone puts a spell, he gets a spell counter, and if a spellcaster, including him, were to be destroyed on the field, you can just sacrifice one of the spell counters instead. The next card, Apprentice Magician. You get 2 of them inside of this deck. 2 star, 400 attack, 800 defense. When he dies, search your graveyard or library for a level 2 or lower spellcaster and put it onto the field and face down defense. Old Vindictive Mage, 2 stars, 450 attack, 600 defense. It's basically a man-eater bug, but with the spellcaster character, sort of, and which brings me to Magical Plant. Another 2 stars, 500 attack, 200 defense, and when you flip, it gets a spell counter and can place it onto anything that can have spell counters placed onto it. So that's also pretty good considering most of these cards revolve around spell counters. Here's another Apprentice Magician. You actually get 2 inside of this deck, so they come in handy sometimes. Blast Magician, 4 stars, Pyro type monster. He is 1400 attack with 1700 defense, and he gets spell counters every time someone plays a spell, and he can take that many spell counters, multiply that by 700, and then destroy a creature with that same number of attack or less. So it's a pretty good monster if you're versing something, say a Blue Eyes or something like that. These 2 go really good because he'll give counters and the other one will receive it. Plus, if anybody plays spells, that's good too. Royal Magical Library, another one of the cards, 4 stars, 0 attack, 2000 defense. Every time someone plays a spell, he gets a spell counter. When you reach a maximum of 3 spell counters, you can remove those, draw a card. And like I said, this entire deck revolves around spell counters, but they're pretty easy to come upon, especially since most of them actually give each other spell counters, and they get spell counters every time someone plays a spell, which is very common. The Skill Dark Magician, 4 stars, 1900 attack, 1700 defense. He builds spell counters, and when you remove 3 spell counters and tribute summon him, you can get a Dark Magician from your hand, your graveyard, or your library, which I don't have it right now, but the Dark Magician is a very good idea. It's a very good idea to put them inside this deck. I got the Master Magician. It looks like he has 7 stars, 2700 attack, 17 defense, 1700 defense. You can special summon him using the land that you get inside of this deck, or you can just sacrifice 2 monsters, and when he special summons using the land, you have to remove 6 spell counters, but he gets to destroy 1 creature or any field or any card on the field if you remove 1 card from your hand, and you get a spell from your graveyard into your hand again. So again, he's pretty good, especially to reuse spells to give other people spell counters. The Hannibal Necromancer, 4 stars, 1400 attack, 1800 defense. Comes into play with spell counter as usual. To destroy that, he destroys a trap, face-up trap on the field. Magical Emplar, 4 stars, 1700 attack, 1400 defense. Place 2 spell counters on it each time a spell is activated, and you may remove those to special summon a spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard whose level is equal to the number of spell counters you remove. So she's actually pretty good, sort of like a priest or a priestess that will revive your creatures after they died. Breaker the Magical Warrior. He is one of those special cards that you get inside of this deck. 4 stars, 1600 attack, 1000 defense. Not only can he have spell counters placed on him, but he also gets an additional 300 attack for each one that's onto him. And you may remove one of those to destroy a trap card on the field. the Master of Barriers, 4 stars, 1700 attack, 600 defense. You contribute summon him to destroy one face-up continuous card, such as lands or things like Swords of Revealing Light, spell cards that stay on the field for more than one turn, basically. Crystal Seer, one of the 1 stars. You don't really have to sacrifice for much in this deck, I don't even think at all, but you flip her, look at the top 2 cards in your deck, and one goes into your hand, the other one goes at the bottom, and she has 100 attack and 100 defense. The Red Enchanter, actually he is a 6 star, so you sacrifice 1, but he has 1700 attack, 2200 defense, and when he's normal summoned, put 2 counters onto him, and you can remove those 2 to make the opponent randomly discard 1 card out of their hand, and he also gets an additional 300 points for every counter that's onto him, so he is pretty good, especially since you only have to sacrifice 1 creature. Summoner Monk, a 4 star, 800 attack, 1600 defense. Basically just sacrifice him and you can get a Spellcaster with level 4 or lower stars onto the field in any position. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I've already used it before against Andrew, you may have saw him in the other videos, but he's a 4 star, Mythical Beast Cerberus. 4 stars, 1400 attack, 1400 defense. Comes into play, he gets 1 spell counter, and he gets an additional 500 attack points for every spell counter onto him, and he gets a spell counter every time someone plays a spell. But the trick is that at the end, after he attacks, you have to remove all the spell counters, but I've had it to the point where he's become a 5100 in the second turn, especially if you give him power-ups. You also give him an additional 500 for his spell counter ability. Excuse me. Magical Marionette, 5 stars. I believe it has 2000 attack, 1000 defense. Each time a spell is countered or played, he gets 1 spell counter. He gets an additional 200 for every spell counter that's onto him, and you can remove 2 spell counters to destroy 1 creature on the field, I believe. Actually, yeah, 1 creature on the field. The last card that I have, Disenchanter. She's a 5 star creature. Sacrifice 1, 2000 attack, 2300 defense, and once per turn you can remove a counter from her to return 1 spell card, such as land or Swords Revealing Lights, to the owner's hand. That's all the cards I have right now, as goes for the monsters of the Spellcaster deck of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series 5Ds. So it's a pretty good deck, it revolves around spell counters, there's not a lot of sacrificing to do, and the deck can really get the job done, especially when in the next video you'll see the spells and traps that came with it. Again, they sometimes revolve around spell counters, but the Spellcaster deck is a very good idea to buy if you were looking for some sort of deck that can finish battles quickly without having to sacrifice so many monsters. My name is Patrick from Dual Dimensions, and this was the Spellcaster deck that I showed you for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I'll just do a quick scan over so you can see all the cards that I showed you earlier, so you get an idea how they look.